go against Joe Malone.
Yes.
I actually saw this story. I feel like I say pretty early on. I might have got a couple of hours before it went viral, so to speak. And well, before he had responded rather to it, I had seen the original version of his advert and the
So alongside the Chinese,
the Chinese version, which had been adapted.
Is it the one where he's got like the jacket on?
Yeah, it's like side by side.
Yeah, you see it side by side, and you see practically shot for shot that it's been copied from the original advert. At the time of seeing it, I didn't know the original advert was developed by John Boyega's team, like the story.
Say that again. So he's done an advert for John Malone.
Yes.
The Europe, let's say, and Americas.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then.
And there is essentially a Chinese version of that same advert.
Okay.
Where he's been replaced by a Chinese man, and most of the people are Chinese.
Right.
Which is kind of commonplace.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't, when I saw that, I was like,
What did I say, Rich? I said in the cousins group. I said, I don't think I'm going to be marching for this one.
No, this seems reachy, is what I said. I was like, this seems a bit reachy.
In marketing advertising, that happens all the time.
Exactly, you adapt it for different for different markets. After seeing John Boyega's thoughts on it, my opinion did sway a bit more because.
And those were.
What did he say?
What was he saying?
He gave it some backstory. Really, he said that they had developed the whole advert, the plot essentially. It's a story about him and his friends. I think his friends are in it. When you find out it's more of an original idea as opposed to, I think the way I saw it was he's featuring in an advert. And then because of this he's chosen to step down as their global ambassador, I believe.
Right. Ambassador,
Okay.
What are your thoughts on it? I mean, I'm a little. Initially, I was against it, really. With some context, I understand it a bit more. Where do you lot sit?
My initial thoughts were alongside what Les was saying, and like how adverts are adapted for different regions and whatnot. But in saying that, I did mention that and say, this is common practice. But then when you think about it a bit deeper, like, why should a black man be erased in the Chinese version? Like, they should change their ways and think that this is...
Just because it's common practice doesn't mean it's right.
And then what is it kind of steeped in? But then again, I guess in sales and marketing, you probably, and advertising, you'll buy from people who look more like you or feel like you. So I can understand why adverts are adapted for different regions, but then knowing China and their history and like their current issues alongside race and religion, I think they need to have like a deeper look at themselves and kind of change from within. Because when you dig a little deeper, there is like a lot of racism in China. On Boyega, like, I just think he's moving cold at the minute. He's moving very consistent.
Yes, which we always have.
He is being consistent. Yeah,
we always have to respect the consistency.
Walking down the road and kicking over wheelie bins.
Like every time,
like every time I hear like
white bins on the road.
Every time I see him trending, I'm like, he's fucking some shit up on that road.
He's going off.
I'll probably repeat what Dan said, to be honest. Market advertising. Things are translated to that said market just so it appeals one language for obvious reasons, to an imagery because it just, I want to wear that jacket because that guy looks like me or kind of looks like me. But then you got to look kind of deeper and think it should be okay for that advert to stay as John Boyega as that as a person advertising those clothes.
I'm against that, I'm just thinking it through at the moment now. I'm actually against it, like
the changing thing.
Yeah, man. I get it.
Example as well.
Yes. Did you see? I didn't think anybody else saw that. Yeah.
He's like front and center in the American, European one, but in the Chinese version,
he's not even there.
Small.
I couldn't see him.
Basically not there. Yeah.
I couldn't see him. But I'm
So
actually
he was basically saying that it's his idea, yeah?
with
The whole thing was his idea.
advert,
though.
yeah.
Malone,
He
yeah,
wrote the creator for it.
Yeah.
Which
I think that part is important.
That is a bit.
Yeah.
Unless they cut him off something for that.
What, some bread?
they probably did, but
Yeah.
then if it's your story, then you should get it for the second one as well, which you probably didn't get any bread for.
Yes. That's where it's a bit shaky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, I think that bothers me a bit more than changing it from John Boyega to a Chinese man or woman or whatever.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
there's levels in it, and I think, like Dan said, you got to look at the culture and how they view other races and religions. But at the same time, like, it sounds shit saying it, but business is business, innit?
Nah.
I like, and the thing, the weird thing,
Because, do you know-
the weird thing is, to say agree is probably too strong. I understand that side of it, but then at the same time, it's like I don't know. I can see a house in front of me, so I use that as a weird example. Like seeing like a big mansion, like 10-bedroom yard, pool, all of that. If you see like a young black boy from North London living in that yard, you're gonna be like, right, like maybe like I can achieve that or get somewhere close to that. But if you see Harry from Essex living in that yard, that's just not you. That's not where you're from. You don't look like him. Your lifestyles
That's
and
their thing.
backstories, are probably different. So for me, in marketing certain products, if I see a guy in a black guy in a pair of trainers or whatever, and he kind of looks like me, dresses like me, then I'm gonna be like, oh, like they probably look decent on me. But if I see like some white kid that looks different or someone who doesn't look like me wearing those, then I'm probably gonna be like, yeah. I'm just gonna be like, I'm not really sure. So that's my thing is, and again, I use the walking down the road, kicking the bins over. You don't have to kick over every bit, because then you're just
The road's messy.
the road's fucked. you're gonna get to the end of the road.
I like it.
Get to the end of the road.
You ever wake up the
Turn
next
around.
day and you're like, bro, it was windy last night.
Yeah. You're gonna get to the end of the road, look back and be like, raw. Like,
Man's
that
wheelie
shit's
bins are
fucked.
all over the place.
So I get, there's always a fight to fight in it, and fight that fight. But I think at the same time,
I get what you're saying, Les, and I get what you're saying, yeah? I think you should kick down every wheelie bin. Like, what we're saying is he's being consistent with it, but I think
don't
what you're...
kick down every wheelie.
No,
bin.
kick
open
them-
some of them up and look what's inside.
What, and
Before you
then
kick them.
refuse to take them?
Yeah. And if you don't like what's inside,
analogy.
if you don't like what's
I like
inside, then
it.
kick it over.
My thing is, yeah, you don't... I mean, like, be consistent, which you have to... I'm respecting with, from John Boyega. I feel like what you're saying, Les, is be careful, because you don't want to be labelled as that guy. In the way that we look at, say, Joe Biden or whatever, and he's labelled... Or even Kanye, a lot of people are labelled as the madman or whatever.
Crazy guy shouting.
Yeah, and you're just like dismissed. If you keep kicking up stink, it can be bad for you. But I think if the stink needs to be kicked up, then kick it up, man.
I'm here for disruption. I think it's probably less so Boyega who should be on the stand as opposed to Joe Malone brand.
This is the thing, innit? If you are that ambassador and you stand up and say this is wrong, people will look at you. You do it one too many times, you become the problem. Whereas no, that company had that problem. That company had the same problem. Yeah.
I mean, that's the same problem Joe Biden had in that. And I think in the episode before last, he was saying that everyone just keeps saying, "Oh, Joe's bad for business. He doesn't know how to negotiate. Like, he can't keep a contract. He's this and he's that." And that's the age-old thing. It's Joe just says the same thing. He'll sign for this label, then he'll hate it, then he'll say they're shit, then he'll say they've done this, then he'll leave, then he'll do the same thing to different labels. So then after a while, everyone's just like, "Oh, that's probably just how Joe is." But
maybe something's wrong with the system.
Right. So these are old age-old establishments that have been there for long before he was ever about. So maybe it's not look at me, look at what they're doing.
Yeah, this one's not user error, it's the system.
Right. And I think he's saying that Spotify and maybe some other stream things, services that are using or getting podcasts on board are trying to mimic what they've done with what record labels have done with music.
Yes.
They're trying to create the same system in this new place.
Yeah, because he was like, and he kept saying it that before, like him and like maybe a few others, like they didn't know what a podcast deal looks like or like how you even go about setting this stuff up to make it like to sell it. So it's a new day for all of this stuff. But yeah, I'm all for I'm all for making noise and disruption. But sometimes I'm just like just not. Sometimes I'm on it. Sometimes I'm not. That's just the bottom line, really.
A little bit more context about the Joe Malone thing. Yeah, he they didn't inform him about the change. He found out on social media.
That's a bit shit, isn't it? You don't want to find out anything about your life.
That's smelly as well.
Yeah, that's very smelly.
And I think the Joe Malone herself, who sold it, the brand to Estee Lauder, she said that she wouldn't have done this to Boyega, which is it's good PR for her to say right now. She said horrified, disgusted, but that could, and those are her words, so I'll take it as gospel. But yeah, she said she wouldn't have moved like that. But it's this bigger brand, Estee Lauder have taken Joe Malone on board, and I guess they've got pressures on them to deliver in this region, and that was the decision they went with. Not saying that's right.
I get it, but I don't think we need to make change in it. And
yes, and I think the reason we get it is because it's always been that way. Whereby now we should maybe start shaking things up and say no.
Yeah, that can't run.
Yeah, so what they've done is fairly normal practice, but the way they've gone about it is kind of
in 2020 that's not going to stand. Yeah, from here onward.
And I think that's good, and that comes
from someone kicking over the bins, blood.
But you always got to ask the question first, though. Fam, look what's in the bin, cuz.